I should have left when Mira pressed a brass key into my palm and whispered, "If anyone asks where I am tonight, you haven't seen me." Rain was dripping off both of us onto the hallway floor. One of her grocery bags had split open near her door, and an orange kept rolling in lazy little circles between our shoes like it had nowhere better to be. Her hair was damp at the ends. Her breathing was too fast. And when she looked over my shoulder before looking back at me, I felt something cold move through my chest. Then her phone lit up. She didn't answer it. She just pushed the key harder into my hand and added, softer this time, "And if I'm not back by morning, please feed my cat." That was the moment the night changed. Up until then, Mira had just been the woman in 5A. The quiet neighbor with the soft sweaters, the unreadable eyes, and the habit of coming home late like she was trying not to be noticed. We'd lived across from each other for 4 months, and in that time, I'd learned almost nothing real about her, only fragments. She liked green apples more than red ones. She wore silver rings on 3 fingers, but never on her left hand. She sometimes stood on the fire escape at 2 in the morning with a mug in both hands, staring down at the city like it had personally disappointed her. I knew those things because after my engagement collapsed, noticing other people became easier than noticing myself. My name's Noah. I was 32, working remote out of an apartment that still looked temporary even though I'd been there almost a year. My ex used to say I lived like I was always about to leave. She wasn't wrong. Even my books stayed half unpacked, like commitment could be measured in cardboard. That night, the elevator was broken. The city was drowned in rain, and I'd found Mira in the lobby trying to carry 6 bags, an umbrella, and whatever weight had been sitting behind her eyes since the day she moved in. "Here," I'd said, reaching for 2 of the bags. "You're going to dislocate a shoulder." She gave me a tired look. That would at least solve my problem of carrying the rest. I laughed before I meant to. She did too, but only for a second. By the 3rd flight of stairs, we were both breathing hard. By the 5th, her fingers brushed mine as we shifted the bags, and the contact was so brief it should have meant nothing. It didn't feel like nothing. She pulled her hand back first. "Sorry," she murmured. "For what?" "For acting like I don't need help when I obviously do." "That's not a crime." She glanced at me then, a little too long. You'd be surprised. At her door, the paper bag tore. Apples, pasta, a carton of eggs, and that one stubborn orange scattered across the hallway. We both dropped to the floor at the same time. My hand landed over hers as we reached for the eggs. Neither of us moved. For one strange suspended second, the rain outside disappeared. The hallway disappeared. It was just her hand under mine, and the way her face changed when she looked up. Not dramatic, not movie perfect, just open, like I'd caught her without the armor on. Then her phone started buzzing again. That's when she stood up too fast, stared at the screen and went pale. "You okay?" I asked. She swallowed. "I need to leave." "Now?" She nodded once, already unlocking the door. "I'm sorry. I know this is weird. We passed weird 3 flights ago." That should have made her smile. Instead, she disappeared into her apartment and came back 10 seconds later with that brass key in her hand. Then she gave it to me. I probably should have asked more questions. I probably should have said no. But there was something about the way she was holding herself together that made questions feel cruel. So I just said, "Mira, who's asking for you?" Her eyes met mine, dark and steady despite the panic underneath. "A man I used to love," she said, "which makes him complicated." And before I could figure out what that meant, she was gone. I stood there for a long time after her door clicked shut, the key heavy in my palm, and Oliver the cat apparently already yowling from inside like he disapproved of all human decision-making. At 10:43 p.m., someone knocked on her door. Not a polite knock, not neighborly. 3 hard raps that echoed down the hallway. I looked through the peephole of my own apartment and saw a man in a navy coat holding wet flowers in one hand and his jaw too tight in the other. Even from a distance, he looked like the kind of man who had been told yes too many times. He knocked again. "Mira." Nothing. Nothing. Then he noticed me watching through the peephole somehow because his head turned. A minute later, he was knocking on my door. I opened it only halfway. "Can I help you?" "I'm looking for Mira." His voice was smooth in a way I didn't trust. "She not home?" I shrugged. "Wouldn't know." His eyes flicked down the hall, then back to me. "You her neighbor?" "Unfortunately, yes. She can probably hear my terrible music through the walls." He didn't smile. "If she comes back, tell her Daniel stopped by." I'll forget the name immediately. That got a look out of him. He stayed there a moment too long, like he was trying to decide whether I mattered. Then he turned and walked away, flowers still in his hand, shoulders rigid. Only after the elevator doors closed did I realize I'd been holding my breath. Inside Mira's apartment, Oliver was orange, judgmental, and deeply offended by my existence. He glared at me from the kitchen counter while I filled his bowl and tried very hard not to look like I was snooping. But some places tell you about a person without asking permission. Her apartment smelled like vanilla and rain-damp books. There were sketches clipped to the fridge with tiny magnets, building facades, staircases, windows, impossible angles softened by pencil smudges. A half-dead peace lily leaned toward the lamp in the living room. One mug in the sink. One blanket folded on the couch. A life arranged carefully. A life built for one. My phone buzzed just as Oliver started eating. Asterisk, asterisk, Mira, asterisk, asterisk. I'm at the airport. My mom had a stroke. I'm sorry for dragging you into this. A second message came before I could answer. Asterisk, and Daniel is my ex-fiancé. If he shows up again, please don't tell him anything. I stared at the screen, then typed, asterisk, your cat hates me, but your secret's safe. 3 dots appeared. Asterisk, he hates everyone. Thank you, Noah. That was the first time she used my name. She came back 2 days later, looking like she'd been stitched together from caffeine and willpower. I was unlocking my door when I heard hers. She was dragging a suitcase with one hand, phone pinned between her shoulder and ear, apologizing to someone in a calm voice that didn't match her face. When she hung up, she saw me and stopped. For a second, neither of us spoke. Then I held up the key. She exhaled like she'd been waiting to do that since she left. You still have it. You sound surprised. I'm not used to people holding on to things for me. I crossed the hall and handed it back. Our fingers touched again. That tiny, dangerous pause again. How's your mom? I asked. Stable, which is doctor language for we don't know yet. I'm sorry. She nodded, looking down at the key in her hand. Did Daniel come by? Once. And I lied with conviction. That finally made her laugh. It was quiet, tired, and somehow worse for me than silence. She looked up. Do you drink coffee, Noah? I drink enough of it to qualify as a medical concern. Good. She opened her door. Come, let me thank you properly. Her kitchen was warmer in daylight, softer. She moved around it with the kind of exhaustion that makes every motion honest. I leaned against the counter while she made coffee and tried not to notice the loose strand of hair near her mouth, the sleeves pushed to her elbows, the fact that this felt way too intimate for 2 people who'd barely had a real conversation. You can say it, she said without turning around. Say what? That this is a terrible idea. Accepting coffee from the mysterious woman with emotional baggage and a hostile cat. I smiled. I was actually going to say your cat, and I made progress. No, you didn't. No, I absolutely didn't. She handed me a mug. Our hands brushed. She didn't pull away immediately this time. Thank you, she said. There was weight under those 2 words. More than the groceries, more than the key. I cleared my throat. You gave your spare key to a man whose last name you didn't even know. I knew enough. Which was? She looked at me, over the rim of her mug. You look like someone who keeps promises. I didn't know what to do with that, so I tried to joke. That's either very flattering or very concerning judgment. Mira's mouth tilted. I work in architecture. Concerning judgment is most of my career. That should have been the end of it. It wasn't. After that, we kept finding each other. In the hallway, in the lobby, in the tiny coffee shop on the corner where she pretended not to have a regular order even though the barista started making it the second she walked in. Sometimes she knocked after midnight just to ask if I had extra batteries or duct tape or the name of the Thai place I always ordered from. Once I knocked on her door because Oliver had somehow escaped into the hall and was sitting outside my apartment like he paid rent. Little things, stupid things, dangerous things. The first time the elevator got stuck with us inside, it was only for 6 minutes. 6 unbelievably long minutes. Mira had been talking when it stopped. Something about a client who wanted a rooftop garden on a building that could barely hold its own HVAC system. Then the elevator jolted. The lights flickered, and she went silent so fast it scared me. Mira? I'm fine. She wasn't. Her shoulders had gone rigid. Her breathing turned shallow. She kept staring at the seam of the doors like she could force them apart with fear alone. I pressed the emergency button and moved carefully, like she was something wild I didn't want to startle. Hey, look at me. She didn't. Mira. This time she did. Good, I said quietly. Stay with me. Her laugh came out thin. That sounds dramatic. I'm dramatic under pressure. I noticed. Count with me. She frowned. Just do it. She did. Softly at first, then steadier. By the time the elevator lurched back to life, the color had started returning to her face. When the doors opened, she didn't step out right away. Neither did I. She just stood there, close enough for me to feel the heat of her arm, and whispered, "Thank you. For the second time this month, for not asking why. I should have asked then. I wanted to." But her eyes were doing that thing again, holding mine like she was letting me near something fragile and regretting it at the same time. So I said, "Anytime." That was the problem. I meant it. A week later, she called while I was out buying groceries. "I need a favor," she said. Suspicious start. "I left my presentation tube in your car." I frowned. "How did you drove me to the hospital parking garage Tuesday, remember? You were half asleep and wearing one black sock and one blue sock. I was making a fashion statement. You were making a cry for help." I smiled despite myself. "What do you need?" "I'm already at the office. Big client meeting. If I don't have those drawings in 20 minutes, Daniel gets to tell everyone I'm disorganized, and I'd rather pass away." There was that name again. Daniel. I brought the tube to her office downtown. I shouldn't have gone upstairs. I know that now, but the receptionist had told me she was in Conference C, and before I could talk myself out of it, I was standing outside a glass wall watching Mira speak to a room full of people like a completely different version of herself. Confident, sharp, controlled, and Daniel was beside her. He leaned in at one point and said something near her ear that made her jaw tighten. Then, when the room started to clear, his hand landed lightly at the small of her back. It was probably nothing. It felt like a bullet. Mira saw me through the glass before I could leave. Her expression changed instantly. She came out smiling, relief all over her face. "You're a lifesaver." I handed her the tube. "Seems like you had it covered." Her smile faltered. "Noah," but Daniel was already there. He looked even better in daylight, which made him worse somehow. "So this is the neighbor," he said, holding out a hand that felt like a challenge. "Daniel." I ignored the hand. "The one with the flowers." His smile sharpened. Mira's eyes flashed a warning at both of us. "Thank you for bringing this," she said quickly. "Sure." I left before she could stop me. That was my flaw. Always has been. If something felt like it might hurt, I'd leave first and call it self-respect. 3 nights later, my ex-fiancée Claire showed up outside my apartment with a box of old records I'd left in storage. Perfect timing. The universe has a sense of humor like that. "I was nearby," she said, which was a lie people use when they want to feel less vulnerable. We spoke in the hallway for 10 awkward minutes. She looked older, softer, sadder, maybe. At one point, she said, "You know what the worst part was? Not the cheating. Not even the ending. It was how you stopped letting me reach you long before any of that happened." I didn't have a defense for that. When I noticed Mira at the stairwell door, hearing only that part, it was already too late. She gave me one unreadable glance and disappeared. After that, she pulled back. Nothing dramatic. No slammed doors. No coldness I could point to. Just absence. Shorter replies. Fewer midnight knocks. Coffee with a polite smile instead of the half-distracted warmth I'd gotten used to. The kind of distance that makes you doubt whether closeness was ever real. Then Daniel came to the building again. This time I heard their voices through the hallway before I saw either of them. "I'm not discussing this here," Mira hissed. "You don't get to ignore me for weeks and then act offended when I show up. I'm not your fiancé anymore." The hallway went quiet after that. I opened my door and found Mira standing stiffly near hers, Daniel too close. Flowers again, like he thought repetition counted as sincerity. He saw me and smiled without warmth. Private conversation. Mira's face shut down. "Daniel, leave." He looked at her, not me. "You're really doing this?" She crossed her arms, but I saw her fingers trembling. "I already did." He stepped closer. That was enough for me. "Hey," I said, voice low. "She asked you to leave." He finally looked at me like I was annoying furniture. "This doesn't concern you. Then stop having it in my hallway." For one ugly second, I thought he might swing. Instead, he laughed. "You think you know her because she borrowed a cup of sugar and gave you sad eyes?" Mira flinched. I didn't even feel myself move. I was just suddenly between them. "Go," I said. Something in my face must have convinced him, because his expression changed. Not fear, calculation. He straightened his coat, glanced at Mira one last time, and walked to the elevator. The second the doors closed, I turned around. Mira was furious. "Why did you do that?" I blinked. "Because he was cornering you. I didn't ask you to step in." "You were shaking." Her laugh broke in the middle. "And that means what, Noah? That I need saving?" "No. It means you looked uncomfortable. And now he gets to think I need another man to fight my battles." The words hit harder than I expected because underneath them was something else. Something older. I lowered my voice. "That wasn't about tonight." She went still. "No," she said after a long pause. "It wasn't." Then she unlocked her door with hands that still weren't steady and stepped inside without another word. I stood in the hallway feeling like I'd done the right thing in exactly the wrong way. That storm hit after midnight. Real summer storm. The kind that makes the windows tremble and the city look briefly uninhabitable. Around 1:30, my phone rang. "Mira? My ceiling is leaking." I was across the hall in seconds. A brown stain had bloomed above her couch, and water was dripping straight onto a stack of sketches she was trying to move. Oliver was under the table in full theatrical despair. "Building maintenance isn't answering," she said. "I put in 2 emergency calls. Bring what you need. You're staying at my place." She started to argue. Then another wet crack came from above. 5 minutes later, she was standing in my kitchen in borrowed sweatpants I'd rolled at the ankles for her, holding a mug of tea with both hands while thunder shook the windows. The apartment felt smaller with her in it, warmer, more dangerous. "Your couch is terrible," she said. "It has emotional support qualities. It has springs. Those are also emotional." A smile tugged at her mouth, then faded. "I'm sorry about before," I said. She looked down into her tea. "You don't have to apologize for caring. That's not exactly what you called it." "I know." The silence stretched. Then she said very quietly, "Daniel never hit me." I didn't speak. He just arranged my life until I couldn't hear myself in it. What I wore to client dinners, who I was rude to for setting boundaries, which opportunities were smart and which were selfish. He made control sound so much like devotion that I thanked him for it. She swallowed. "So when you stepped in tonight, I knew you meant well, but part of me heard the old version of that story." I leaned back against the counter, letting her have the space to say it. "My turn?" I asked after a moment. She nodded. "Claire was right," I said. "I disappear when I care too much. I stop asking questions because I'm scared of the answers. Then I act like distance was wisdom." Mira watched me carefully. "I saw you with Daniel at the office," I admitted. "And instead of asking, I decided I already knew everything. Then Claire showed up, and you probably did the same thing." She let out the smallest breath. "I hated that she looked familiar standing at your door. Nothing happened. I know that now. I'm still an idiot. That also seems true." I laughed, and she did too, and something eased between us. Thunder rolled again. The lights flickered once, then steadied. Mira set her mug down and walked to the window. I joined her, close enough to smell rain in her hair. Down below, headlights streaked across wet streets. Somewhere in the building, a pipe groaned. She asked me why I trusted you, she said suddenly. Who? My sister. After I gave you the key. Mira turned to face me. I told her you looked lonely in a way I recognized. I stared at her. That's a terrible reason to trust someone, I said. Maybe, she whispered. But I was right. There are silences that feel empty. That one didn't. Her eyes dropped to my mouth and then back up so quickly, I almost believed I imagined it. My hand brushed hers on the windowsill. She didn't move. Neither did I. And then Oliver jumped onto the counter and knocked a spoon to the floor with the timing of a professional saboteur. We both laughed too hard, too suddenly, and the moment broke. But it didn't disappear. After that night, everything changed, and nothing changed. She still lived across the hall. I still worked too much. Oliver still hated me, until he randomly decided one Tuesday that I was acceptable, and fell asleep on my shoe. But Mira started telling me things about her mother's recovery, about the panic attacks she never called panic attacks, about leaving Daniel 2 weeks before the wedding and spending a year apologizing to people who were mostly embarrassed they'd bought plane tickets. I told her things too, about my father, who loved us but never learned how to say it without fixing something, about Claire, about how I used to think stability meant silence, about how being needed felt safer than being known. Sometimes we talked in her kitchen, sometimes in mine, once in the hallway at 2 a.m., because neither of us wanted to be the first one to say goodnight. Then she had to fly to Chicago for a client retreat. It's just 2 days, she said in my car on the way to the airport. Please don't look like that. Like what? Like you're about to file a complaint with aviation. I tightened my grip on the wheel. Daniel's going? Her expression shifted. Yes. That doesn't bother you? It bothers me professionally, emotionally, spiritually, and in several ways that feel medically relevant. That got a laugh out of me. She smiled, then looked out the window at the terminal drop-off. Neither of us moved to end it. She had one hand on the door handle. I had both hands on the steering wheel like they were there to stop me from doing something stupid. Finally, she said, "Text me something obnoxious when I land. I'll send a paragraph about airport carpet." I knew I liked you for a reason. Her hand slipped from the handle and landed over mine for half a second. Accidental. Not accidental enough. Then she got out. That night, one of her coworkers posted a group photo from the hotel bar. Mira was in it. Daniel was beside her, leaning in too close, his arm around the back of her chair. Anyone looking from the outside would have thought intimacy, history, maybe even reconciliation. I looked at that picture far longer than I should have. When she texted, asterisk landed. Carpet review? I waited 11 minutes before replying. That was how fear entered me. Never like a storm, always like a small, stupid delay, pretending not to matter. She came back 2 days later and knew immediately something was off. "You're being weird," she said in the hallway. "I'm always weird." "No, this is colder." I gave a shrug that insulted both of us. She studied my face, then went quiet in that dangerous way. "Did you see the photo?" I looked away. "Oh my God." She laughed once, unbelieving. "He did that on purpose. Looked pretty natural." Her expression changed. Hurt first, then anger. "You think I would spend months trying to get free of him and then casually slide back because of hotel lighting? I think I don't know what you want. You could ask." "I'm asking now." "No, Noah, you're accusing now." That landed because it was true. She stared at me for a second longer, then held out her hand. "Give me my key." I blinked. "What?" "The spare. Give it back." I went inside, grabbed it from the bowl near my door and placed it in her palm. She closed her fingers around it and said, so softly it hurt more, "This is exactly what I was afraid of." Then she walked into her apartment and shut the door. The next evening, I found an envelope slipped under my door. Inside was a single note in Mira's handwriting. Asterisk, I took a job in Boston. I leave Saturday after my mom's procedure. It's the right thing. Please don't make this harder by being kind now. I read it 3 times. Saturday was less than 48 hours away. I knocked on her door that night. No answer. Again the next morning. Nothing. By Friday, I was angry enough to call it heartbreak. She finally opened the door at almost midnight. wearing one of those oversized sweaters that always made her look softer than she let herself be. Her suitcase was half packed behind her. "You don't get to leave like this," I said. She folded her arms. "You mean after being misunderstood by a man who insists on misunderstanding everyone before they can hurt him?" I deserved that, so I stepped inside the truth instead of stepping away from it. I was scared. Her eyes flashed. So was I. "I know." Mira confronted me for doubting her, admitting how painful it was that I trusted a photograph more than her. I confessed that believing her meant risking something real to lose. Though their relationship was badly timed, their feelings were genuine. She left for Boston to escape Daniel's influence, asking only for honesty. Weeks later, after rebuilding parts of my life, I heard a knock. Mira returned. Her mother was better. Daniel was gone, and she had a chance to stay. Standing at my door, she chose to stay. And this time, neither of us hid the truth. It was love.